Hi everyone, my name is Momo Byass. I'm a member of the International Socialists, and today I'll be giving my talk on clean girls, quiet luxury, and crunchy fascists, a Marxist perspective on the beauty and wellness industry. As someone who is particularly interested in beauty and fashion trends, this topic is very interesting to me as of late, from keeping up to what is in style or in vogue, or historically how beauty standards have changed. So, I also have the PowerPoint here, so what I'm saying makes sense to everybody here. So, with the rise of fascism across the globe over the last couple of years, and recently with the 2024 election of Donald Trump as President of the United States for a second time, has marked the beginning of a new era of conservatism in all aspects of our current culture. Fashion and beauty have always been indicators of political and social movements throughout history, and this time it has started to shift more conservative over the last 5 years, with trends like trad wives, extreme fitness, clean girls, tattoo removals, quiet luxury, and the crunchy moms that have been present on social media apps like TikTok and Instagram. Celebrities like Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner, who were the beauty icons of the 2010s for their high glam style and cosmetic surgery and the cultural appropriation, suddenly ditched their plastic surgery, dissolved the fillers to present a more natural look. It begs the question, did the beauty and wellness industry predict the rise of fascism over the last 5 years? How can a Marxist perspective offer an understanding of the correlation of wellness, beauty, and politics? So, you can see here are beautiful trad wives there. There's also Pete Davidson, who now looks pure and clean, and Kim Kardashian. So, beauty and wellness throughout history have always been influenced and to a certain degree dictated by the ruling classes. An interesting concept to note of this is kakolagraphy, first coined by Plato. It details how external beauty reflects someone's morality. This concept has been influential to how Western beauty standards throughout history have been used to uphold privileges and social constructs like classism, racism, sexism, colorism, and ageism. The most important denominator of these social constructs is sexism, as beauty standards have been used to place societal expectation on women to be desirable to men. The use of cosmetics has always been important to maintaining beauty standards dating back to the time of the ancient Egyptians, who saw makeup as a tool of religious symbolism, class status, health, and beautification. As you can see over here, this is ancient Egyptians getting pretty, and also their makeup process. Men and women of all classes across ancient Egypt wore kohl, which is like what is the eyeliner, as protection from the sun, but also protection against evil spirits, and ointments made from natural ingredients being used as medication and bodily hygiene. While makeup was accessible to all, the lower classes had only access to basic makeup compared to the nobility classes who had access to cosmetic tools that were decorated with symbols of fertility and regeneration. The nobility engaged in luxurious skin and beauty care like milk baths, exfoliated dead sea salts, and incense pellets. The servants made eyeshadows made from minerals like malachite, galena, mixed with animal fat to make themselves appear more akin to deities. These minerals were stored in jars made out of glass, gold, and semi-precious stones as symbols for their wealth and to make their minerals last longer. Cosmetics have been used by many different civilizations around the world, like nail polish made from beeswax, gum arabic, and flour or henna. In the Zhou dynasty in China, high-ranking nobles wore gold and silver nail polish, and lower-ranking nobles wore pale colors, while the working class were forbidden to wear any nail polish at all. And if they did, they would be executed. Skin tone became an important part of beauty standards in the Western world. Lighter or white skin soon became associated with the ruling class, dating back to early civilizations, as it became a way for the ruling class to distinguish themselves from the laboring class. As Mark Tungate, writer of The Brand of Beauty, How Makeup Changed the Way We Look, describes, a woman with fair skin clearly leads a different life to that of a bronze laborer. The white skin and fair skin had spiritual and classist elements, as the Catholic Church believed fair and white skin was connected with the Virgin Mary, whose imagery of purity and youthfulness became influential in how whiteness became the standard for women to emulate. The person who was most known for this, if you can see over there, the woman with the crown, is Queen Elizabeth I of England, whose paintings became the beauty standard for her reign. Her pale skin and red hair and very large forehead made her a symbol of beauty. The white face powder became all the rage throughout Europe when women were experimenting and mixing all kinds of chemicals like sulfur, arsenic, ceruse, and lead, and many more things to create powders to mask their blemishes and flaws. However, these experiments caused a range of health problems from muscle paralysis, body poisoning, and death. That as a result, their life expectancy was short, with some dying as young as 29. Despite this pressure of beauty standards, ruling class women continued using these powder compounds throughout history, but adding and removing compounds which still caused many more problems. It wasn't until the Victorian era, as you can see over there, Queen Victoria, beauty standards started to intersect with the rise of colonial expansionism and classism. Beauty standards of the Victorians were based on whiteness and morality, similar to the Greek concept of kakolagraphia, as I mentioned before. Makeup was considered too vulgar and erotic as it went against the standards of purity and modesty. The rise of tuberculosis served as an inspiration for beauty standards that Victorian women started to consume products that contained compounds like opium and mercury creams, radium, arsenic baths, cocaine for the eyelashes, and Benadryl eye drops to make their eyes look watery and dough-like. Talk about looking drop-dead gorgeous. Cleanliness became a tool of classism and nationalism. The idea of cleanliness became a way for the middle class and upper-class Victorians to simply ridicule and look down on working-class people in the sun and treat them as lesser, and later extended to overseas colonies in Africa and Asia. By the 20th century, beauty standards were changing. They found themselves intersecting with political and social movements. The rise of film and photography made cosmetics appealing to most classes and countries around the world. As women started to develop more disposable income in the post-World War I, the demand for cosmetics grew with the rise of companies like Revlon, Estée Lauder, and Elizabeth Arden in the 1920s. Beauty found themselves as becoming tools of political and social movements throughout the century, with skin-lightening goods being pushed out to British colonies overseas to promote racial hierarchy. The suffragettes wore red lipstick and trousers for the fight for the right to vote. Western world. Lighter or white skin soon became associated with the ruling class, dating back to early civilizations, as it became a way for the ruling class to distinguish themselves from the labouring class. As Mark Tungate, writer of The Brand of Beauty, How Makeup Changed the Way We Look, describes, a woman with fair skin clearly leads a different life to that of a bronze labourer. The white skin and fair skin had spiritual and classist elements, as the Catholic Church believed fair and white skin was connected with the Virgin Mary, whose imagery of purity and youthfulness became influential in how whiteness became the standard for women to emulate. The person who was most known for this, if you can see over there, the woman with the crown, is Queen Elizabeth I of England, whose paintings became the beauty standard for her reign. Her pale skin and red hair and very large forehead made her a symbol of beauty. The white face powder became all the rage throughout Europe when women were experimenting and mixing all kinds of chemicals like sulfur, arsenic, ceruse, and lead, and many more things to create powders to mask their blemishes and flaws. However, these experiments caused a range of health problems from muscle paralysis, body poisoning, and death. That as a result, their life expectancy was short, with some dying as young as 29. Despite this pressure of beauty standards, ruling class women continued using these powder compounds throughout history, but adding and removing compounds which still caused many more problems. It wasn't until the Victorian era, as you can see over there, Queen Victoria, Beauty standards started to intersect with the rise of colonial expansionism and classism. Beauty standards of the Victorians were based on whiteness and morality, similar to the Greek concept of kakolagraphia, as I mentioned before. Makeup was considered too vulgar and erotic as it went against the standards of purity and modesty. The rise of tuberculosis served as an inspiration for beauty standards that Victorian women started to consume products that contained compounds like opium and mercury creams, radium, arsenic baths, cocaine for the eyelashes, and belladonna eye drops to make their eyes look watery and dough-like. Talk about looking drop-dead gorgeous. Cleanliness became a tool of classism and nationalism. The idea of cleanliness became a way for the middle class and upper class Victorians to simply ridicule and look down on working class people in the slums and treat them as lesser, and later extended to overseas colonies in Africa and Asia. By the 20th century, beauty standards were changing. They found themselves intersecting with political and social movements. The rise of film and photography made cosmetics appealing to most classes and countries around the world. As women started to develop more disposable income in the post-World War I, the demand for cosmetics grew with the rise of companies like Revlon, Estée Lauder, and Elizabeth Arden in the 1920s. Beauty found themselves as becoming tools of political and social movements throughout the century, with skin-lightening goods being pushed out to British colonies overseas to promote racial hierarchy. So, clean girls and quiet luxury are trends that emerge from social media apps like TikTok and Instagram. The clean girls aesthetic is a micro-trend popularized by celebrities and influencers, for example, Hailey Bieber and Bella Hadid and Selena Gomez. It is known for its minimalistic and refined lifestyle that emphasizes on enhancing a person's natural beauty. Their skin is known for its glazed and clear skin, minimalistic and basic clothing and accessories. The color palettes containing neutral colors like white and beige, but most importantly, the no makeup look. Don't know how many times I'm going to say this. The clean girl emphasizes on living a clean and natural lifestyle by consuming as much natural and non-toxic products that are sustainable and environmentally friendly, and maintaining a fit and mentally well lifestyle through exercise, yoga, and Pilates, as well as practicing self-care like meditation and mindfulness. So, very basic and very simplistic. And quite luxury, or sometimes referred to as stealth wealth, is a fashion trend that emphasizes on minimalism and timeless elegance, with high-quality materials and craftsmanship of luxury brands that was popularized by the hit TV show Succession. If you can see in the bottom corner, there is one of the royal siblings and the father and even one of the royal siblings there. These two trends overlap as they both present a hyper-curated image of beauty, fashion, and wealth. While it claims to be minimalistic, low effort, and low maintenance style that doesn't require too much energy to obtain. After all, people can buy gold hoop earrings, denim jeans, a basic t-shirt, a logoless sweater from Primark, right? The chase for beauty and wellness on the internet has become so accessible in this contemporary times. The clean girl aesthetic, alongside its many trends that came before it, for example, the strawberry girl and the vanilla girl, pushes hyperconsumption and conservative ideals of beauty standards onto young women. The clean girl aesthetic is promoted by upper class and middle class women who have always been the faces of beauty standard in the Western world. Middle class and upper class women greatly benefit and influence the beauty standards as they are able to purchase as many beauty treatments and products as possible. They have the cultural and social capital to determine when trends are popular amongst their social circles and when they are no longer popular amongst the social circles. The last decade, we saw how beauty and wellness trends were about embracing diversity and inclusion. 2010 saw the rise of high glam makeup, contouring, and a slim, thick physique in style, thanks to Kim Kardashian, who appropriated her style for Black women. The world of wellness was embracing self-care as part of its mantra and promoting all kinds of products to help enhance a person's well-being, even though it had no scientific proof or claimed effectiveness. For example, if you know Gwyneth Paltrow, she had a company called Goop, and she promoted this product called a yoni egg, which served no purpose whatsoever. It is basically an egg made out of precious stone that you stick up your hoo-ha, and it's supposed to increase your fertility, but there's no claims whatsoever. For beauty, we saw the rise of body positive movements that advocated self-love, for instance. More size-inclusive models and brands expanding their clothing sizes, LGBT representation in fashion and beauty, with queer men and trans women being the faces of beauty, and more skin tones included in beauty products, like Rihanna's Fenty Beauty. As the 2020 pandemic came along, the beauty standards changed as working from home and masking became normalized. High glam makeup became out of fashion, and a focus on hygiene and skincare arose out of the panic around health due to COVID-19. In response to the interest in hygiene, beauty brands included healthier benefits to their cosmetic products, for example, by adding SPF and other clean chemicals. The aftermath of COVID created a rise of economic instability that caused young people to start worrying about their future. With abortion rights being overturned, unemployment on the rise, and the failure of social programs, trends started to appear on TikTok. For example, the stay-at-home girlfriend, the trad wives, and crunchy moms, whose aesthetics play in traditional gender roles and nostalgic domestic femininity, serving itself as a solution to women's issues. The clean girls no makeup look reinforces traditional beauty standards the same way trad wives equate beauty with modesty and cleanliness, and also the Victorians, making little space for creativity and self-expression. It ignores the classist implications with the cost of beauty on the rise, and women are finding themselves more in financial debt to keep on maintaining their appearance, and finding themselves turning to cheaper alternatives that are more riskier in health complaints, reactions to surgeries, and death again. As Naomi Wolf, I'm aware she's very problematic, wrote in her book titled The Beauty Myth, that was written in the 1990s, the free market will always compete to cut up women's bodies more cheaply, if stockily, with no frill surgeries in the bargain basement clinics. So let's talk about wellness. The quest for health in the digital age has found more people searching for new ways to maintain their bodies and looks, with influencers promoting and pushing products from skincare routines to drinking raw milk. The world of wellness culture and industry capitalizes on people's interest in maintaining their own health and well-being. Companies and brands sell all kinds of holistic treatments and products that serve no health benefits. For example, vagina steaming, bee sting therapies, and so-called vampire repellents to ward off the bad vibes. It has made the industry vulnerable and hard to regulate, with how much disinformation being sprouted by quote-unquote health influencers. That is not to say that taking care of one's body is bad, but it also questions on how the wellness industry became very vulnerable to far-right influence. So let's talk about our final subject, the crunchy fascist. So according to Kathleen Brew, who wrote an article titled "What's the Path from Country Counterculture to Alt-Right?" So crunchy is coined as a pop culture reference to, it's also called granola, has come to refer to a wide variety of cultural practices, including avoiding additives, food dyes, declining or spacing out childhood vaccines beyond what pediatricians recommend, and more extreme actions in pursuing health, independence, and purity, like back-to-back living and also alternative medicines are the hallmarks of crunchy. The crunchy movement has always had some liberal and left-wing associations in the past, and typically people don't associate this movement, which I'm not saying like all crunchy people are fascist. I'm just saying there is an abundance of them that are. But recently, there has been an ingrowing influence of far-right politics in the world of wellness subculture. The economic and global hardship alongside the COVID pandemic, the world of wellness became flooded with disinformation around vaccine skepticism, interest in New Age spirituality, and subcultures as a way to cope with the new normal that we had to adapt to at the time. Wellness culture became a fulfillment for some people as growing anxieties around health began to grow, and people had found themselves becoming self-reliant and taking their health into their own hands. The concept of self-care has roots in Black radical activism with Audre Lorde, who is a Black queer activist, who describes self-care as a form of self-preservation and a way to rebel against the oppression and social norms while looking after your physical and mental health adequately. However, the term self-care has become bastardized by the wellness industry to indulge in a bubble bath to a highly consumerist industry. The crunchy fascists have taken advantage of these growing concerns, especially the concerns of women who are unfoundedly responsible for doing care work in the home and of other people, and also the need to take care of their appearance. The crunchy fascist uses imagery and language of the past to frame foods and different lifestyles, which they deem as unnatural, like, for example, processed food, fatter bodies, darker skin as not pure, and those that require labor or made of scratch or look perfect in their eyes as indicators of purity and cleanliness. The far-right crunchy types promote body fascism to dictate and police bodies they deem inferior and superior. It views thinness as being more able-bodied and therefore more likely to be strong enough to fight and give birth to a nation or a race. As you can see, this is an old-time Nazi poster that really illustrates this point. There's a woman holding a blonde woman holding a blonde child, and this blonde man with a short shield and sword really looking out for his woman there. For women, thinness is promoted as the ideal body type, and communities like the pro-Anna community, and or also known as eating disorder Twitter, who endorse traditional femininity, traditional feminine aesthetics like coquette, as you can see on the side, which is like a very soft, delicate, feminine aesthetic that's like put bows and everything, and it's white and pure, as a means to radicalize people into extreme eating disorders. In similar ways, the far right sees thinness as a way for thinness for women as a way to control and restrict their power to fight against the injustices, and position their behavior as demure, delicate, and self-sacrificing. This example could also be seen with the presence of Imani Kalafi during the 2024 Paris Olympics. She was an Algerian boxer who faced immense transphobia over her appearance and how her appearance and how far-right and right-wing influence judged Khalifeh's match to impose feminine standards of of the right wing, which unfortunately has been used to target women of color and Black women. And the debate of trans women in sports also challenges the far right's idea of womanhood, of physical advantage, and preserving biological purity and gender roles. So, what is the Marxist perspective on all of this? Marx described under capitalism, the worker is alienated fourfold. Alienation is a process whereby a worker is made to feel alien to the products of their labor. The beauty and wellness industry requires unpaid labor to make time to maintain and fix our bodies. Beauty work has become a form of exploitation under capitalism, as people are encouraged to consume as much products, spend time on fixing and transforming their bodies. As our bodies are physically transformed, we experience the pressure from being surveyed constantly for how we look and controlled under capitalism and even fascism. At the end of the day, Clean girls, quiet luxury, and crunchy fashions are all part of the ever-growing problem facing young people. The desire to feel a sense of belonging and stability. As economic decline happens, people find themselves regressing backwards as a way to feel secure. As socialists, we should fight for a future in which people no longer feel alienated and live to see the future and express themselves without any form of control. Thank you for listening.